Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
Good night, and good luck.
Hey, everybody. It's Rick Wilson, your host, as always, here on The Elephant in the Room. The elephant in the room this week, and I know you're thinking, oh my God, the big, beautiful train wreck. Oh my God, the white South African craziness. Oh my God, the deportation stuff. I think there's something tying it all together. And I think the elephant in the room right now is Donald Trump's mental health. It's easy to talk about Donald Trump being crazy. There was a long period of time when Donald Trump's craziness was more like crazy like a fox. It was more like weird, strange language that was about his branding, that sort of cunning he had about things. But there's a reason why the White House is taking every single transcript from every event for the last 4 months of his presidency off the website. Donnie Mumblefuck has become an embarrassment to them. Trump is out there now when he gets even 2 minutes, goes off on these rambling, discursive, disconnected statements, these gaffes, Biden, stage 9 cancer.
I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
He's confused Nikki Haley with Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden with Barack Obama. And, this goes back a long way. Remember when the Continental Army took the airports, but Trump's mental difficulties are becoming much more pronounced. I think it's harder and harder to pretend that at his age, with his mileage, with his unbelievably, insanely unhealthy diet and lifestyle, that even though he's 6'4" and 225 pounds, and if you believe that, once again, Dinosaur Island in the Pacific, I have it for sale. If you believe that, we're going to go and I will sell you the T-Rex and Raptor Island. But he's repeating himself. He's done a lot of the stuff you see with people who are starting to have cognitive problems, shorter sentences, weirder stories, looping back over and over and over and again on the same weird obsessions. And he doesn't seem to have that same crispness to his viciousness. He will get pissy and then it'll drift off. He has so much entered into this realm where, as much as I hate the guy, as much as I loathe him in every way, I don't think he's as intimidating a figure as he was even a few months ago. I don't think he plays the same pitch of causing people fear and distress that he did a few months ago. It's sad in some ways. It's kind of weird that Trump's team around him, and I mean all of them, by the way, they're using this. Stephen Miller is using it to run his deportation wankfest fantasy, whatever that fucking dark weirdness is, and running the Department of Justice. Trump's like, go do your thing, pal. Susie Wiles is using it to try to rein in some of the crazy, like just doing it under the surface. He's not hearing about it. He doesn't care. Elon, when he was still around, was trying to use the same thing. He understood it. He saw it. But Trump's mental health is slipping. We have an entire public controversy raging like a political bonfire across this country right now about Joe Biden. It is taking up an enormous amount of mental bandwidth in the media, talking about, was Biden mentally acute enough to be president? Were they covering up Biden slipping? They were. I don't blame them. Loyalty is loyalty. Campaigns are tough. We can talk about that in the future. Okay. Love to litigate that at some point down the line. But right now, we have a man who is corrupt, who is dangerous, who is putting America in enormous jeopardy in almost every single dimension. And he's not well. Trump is not well. He looks awful. He sounds worse. This moment we're in, where even if you're a Trump supporter, you have to know the clock is running. You have to know that this is not the same guy. Certainly not the guy from 2016. Definitely not the guy from 2020. He's not even the guy from 2024 anymore. The reason they took those transcripts down, the reason they don't want him out there, is because when he starts talking, things go off the rails. When he starts rambling, things go off the rails. When he starts lying, they don't care about the lying. But the lying has gotten so absurd now. It's like Dr. Evil lying. He claimed he invented the question mark. The degree to which Trump just goes out and bullshits now. On the one hand, You would think it's a sign of his confidence he can always bullshit his own people. On the other hand, don't attach numbers to things that you know are fucking bullshit. Gas is $1.99. Oh, find that for me, motherfucker. Where? Eggs are 47 cents, whatever it is. He's opening his mouth and crazy is coming out. It's not crazy like a fox anymore, folks. It's not that feral cunning. It's not a plan. It's not an aspect of his deep strategy of playing 47-dimensional quantum chess. He's old. He's demented. He's always had some mental health issues, not just the narcissism, not just that, but now they're combined with extreme age. They're combined with a terrible diet. They're combined with lack of sleep. He's up at 1:40 in the morning blasting Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift. That's not healthy. I went a lot of years in my life believing I could get by on 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I got my ass up 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But I realized in the last few years, if I get 7 hours of sleep, I'm a human being. So Daddy Adderall is up in the residence at night, bouncing off the fucking walls at 3 in the morning, rage tweeting. There's no one who cares about him. That's the thing you should think about. There's no one in that White House who cares about him enough to say, boss, there's been a change. You're not yourself. We need to get a doctor in here. You get a gerontologist. You need to get a senior cognitive specialist. You need help. Because look, as much as Trump likes to say, I passed the cognitive test with flying colors, like no one's ever passed it before. I was able to see the monkey and the giraffe, and I circled each one. No one's ever done it before. No one like me. I'm sorry, guys. I know. I have a terrible Trump accent. You'd think in 10 years into this, I'd have developed a good Trump accent. My Bill Clinton is excellent and always has been. There's no one that gives a shit about him. Who do you think Melania's going to care about him? Get the fuck out of here. You think his kids want to? Get the fuck out of here. These people around him are using him in a way right now. Russ Vought and the Project 2025 Doge goons, they're running their own separate show. They're running their own agenda. Scott Bessent is sort of the Stuckey right now as trade guy and treasury guy. He's running his own economic plan now. He has, I think, successfully bumped Peter Navarro into the ether. Peter Navarro's out there somewhere now, but no one's heard from him for weeks. Howard Lutnick, same story. Trump doesn't care about much except 4 things in his life. And I've said this 1,000 times. You're probably sick of me saying it by now. And this has always been the case. He likes what makes him money. He likes what puts him in the spotlight. He likes what makes his dick hard. And he likes what humiliates the people around him. Now, that part is still quite acute. The humiliating people around him is still quite acute. Those people, by the way, leaking the stories to the press about Elon's gone, he polls terribly, that source of that story was Donald J. Trump. He always does this to people that he wants to push out. It goes in 2 phases. 1, he starts calling his friends and saying, do you think Elon's doing a good job? What about Lutnick? Is he doing a good job? And when those people get the call, they know to say, no, Mr. President, I think you would do a better job because you're the strongest, handsomest, tallest man ever in the presidency. Then he calls reporters off the record. You can say this is a senior White House official because I am. And he will go and say whatever it is that will be the top of Fox News the next day. President loses faith in so-and-so. That part still works in his brain, but he doesn't have the same ability to have a coherent span of attention over days or weeks to run an administration. He's never had a long attention span. He's always been easily distracted by bright and shiny objects. And Natalie Harp. He's always had a short attention span politically. A lot of the details bore him. He's not a detail guy, as you can well imagine. He's a kind of guy who really likes to sort of draw it in really broad 30,000-foot strokes and tell people go do. He likes the money. He just took the bribe from Qatar. Okay. He likes the center of attention thing. That's still what he likes. He does like that. He still focuses on that. He still gets that as a centerpiece of his day. But he's not as quick as he was. Why do you think he has so many wingmen now in the Oval Office when he brings people in there for their torture sessions? Why do you think JD and Marco and Pam Bondi and all the rest of those goons are sitting around? It's because he's not as mentally agile as he once was. Donald Trump is not the man he was. That's dangerous on the one hand, because he still has control of, nuclear weapons in the entire federal government. But it should give you some hope on the other. The general in command of the army of MAGA is off his fucking rocker. Again, why did they take the transcripts down? Because when you read them, you can see this is a sick man. This is a man who needs to be under care, not sitting in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. This is a man who is not well. There will come a day where Donald Trump shuffles off the proverbial mortal coil, where Donald Trump wakes up next to the lake of fire and thinks, I could build a condo here, and Satan says no. There will come a day where the belief that he is eternal and immortal and all-powerful and omnipotent and omnipresent will be gone. People will come out of the woodwork, and they will tell stories that make the stories about Joe Biden look like nothing. They will tell stories about Trump's mental lapses, about Trump's inability to understand simple things, about Trump's indifference to information, about Trump's inability to remember. And it will strike you in that moment. You'll say, oh my God. Well, obviously, you see these press conferences, you see these events, you see these media hits, and they're just all over the board. The only ones that don't look that way, by the way, are on Fox, where they edit the living shit out of them, where they prep and prep and prep and prep days in advance. So they work with the White House. Here are the questions we will ask. Would you like to have the president review these questions? Would you like to have him approve these questions? Those things, for some, sustain an illusion that he is not insane, but he is. You know it. We've seen it over and over again, how his lack of ability to communicate in the way he once did and to have any sort of consistency or coherence about his thoughts, his actions, his words. When that day comes and the people are telling those stories, you will know what you know right now in your gut and your heart. Donald Trump is sick. Donald Trump is demented. Donald Trump has mental illnesses. Donald Trump has incipient or actual dementia, and he should not be president. And that, my friends, is the elephant in the room. Hey, folks, join me on Substack at The Rick Wilson. You can catch my Friday brief every Friday. We do lives all during the week. Other pieces as well, generally on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have a terrific community over there on Substack. It's really great. It's really growing. You can also catch me on Lincoln Square, where I am a co-host of the Strategy Room. I am also on Lincoln Square. I have a column every week on Fridays there. Catch me on Twitter, Substack, Instagram, all those places at The Rick Wilson. Appreciate all your kind notes lately. You guys have really been a terrific support. This podcast, Elephant in the Room, is our little mini podcast. It has been growing by leaps and bounds. We like to pull the curtain back every Friday on what's happening in politics. And I really appreciate all of you. You've been great. Keep sharing, liking, all the things that keep the algorithm bumping along. And we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks.
Good night and good luck.